It's what work did in the middle of vacation. I'm on the phone, I'm on family vacation, and I'm missing out on wonderful time with the family. But here's what really happens. You hang up the phone and your mind keeps going.
Yeah.
You're still on the call. You're still thinking about the business. You're still thinking about all this stuff. Not to mention the tension it created with my wife.
Oh, because you were gone from dinner.
Right. Yeah. It's like, where are you? What? Why can't that wait? How come that's so important? Or is that more important? She's right. I was in a place in my life at that time I didn't know how to stop.
Welcome to the Get Business Savvy podcast. I'm George Black.
And I'm AJ Bishop.
As entrepreneurs and business leaders, we're constantly on the go. And then when it comes to vacation or summer vacation, we just keep going. And this has happened to me on multiple vacations.
Yeah. George, do you have an example of one of those vacations where, you spent a bunch of money or you went to a really nice place and you're like, now you think back on it and you're like, man, I really should have enjoyed that place, but you were too busy working?
Yes. And it's not exactly like too busy working. It's what work did in the middle of vacation. So when the boys were young, we took them out to California, San Diego, to Legoland. And we loved Legoland. So, and look, this is not cheap to take the family out and do these things, So that evening, we're at this wonderful fish restaurant right on the harbor, right on the docks, right there in San Diego. It's absolutely beautiful, sun setting. And the kids love this restaurant. They've got a great kids menu. We're having a fun time. I get a phone call. What I end up doing, I'm walking along the docks. The family is inside eating. I am negotiating, brokering a rice deal. And I mean, physical rice. And you're like, what? I was one of the key leaders of a rice processing plant. A group of investors had put together that we established in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And okay. I don't know, this could have been hundreds of thousands of tons of rice. I'm trying to broker it. It's a critical deal. I'm not even a rice broker and I'm having to do this. I'm on the phone. I'm on family vacation and I'm missing out on wonderful time with the family. But here's what really happens is you hang up the phone and your mind keeps going.
Yeah.
You're still on the call. You're still thinking about the business. You're still thinking about all this stuff. Not to mention the tension it created with my wife.
Oh, because you were gone from dinner.
Right. Yeah. It's like, where are you? What? Why can't that wait? How come that's so important? Or is that more important? She's right. I mean, I'm not arguing. I'm saying, yeah, I know. I was in a place in my life at that time I didn't know how to stop.
What would have happened if, when that phone call came, you said, I'm on vacation, call somebody else?
They would have lost millions of dollars. And as it turns out, they didn't do what I put together. They didn't take the deal I put together, and they lost millions of dollars. So I think the answer is nothing. But it didn't feel like that at all.
Because in your mind at that point, you're like, oh, I got to save these guys millions of dollars.
Yeah, I knew the answer. And here's the thing. There wasn't anybody else to hand this off to. Even though we had a brokerage firm, they couldn't have pulled this deal.
And I completely understand that feeling of what you just said, where it's like, even once their call is over, it still lingers. Because if it's an important call, you're going to replay it in your head over and over again to see, could I have said something better? What did they say? Like, now what are they trying to think next? Like, and you start thinking next steps and all of that. Your mind just won't stop. And for me, at least, when that type of stuff happens, it lingers through the night pretty much.
It doesn't. Yeah. And in this case, it lingered on into the next few days. And the calls, by the way, that wasn't the only call.
Yeah.
There had to be a call the next day and the day after that. And I thought I could manage this by okay, I'll just do one call a day, that sort of thing. But you asked a really good question. Could I have just said, no, I'm on vacation? What I could have done was say to the partners and everybody, this is our family vacation. I will be out of pocket for this amount of time. I don't have an assistant. There's nobody else who can handle this. Don't do anything stupid till I get back.
Do not run the business off a cliff in the next week.
Right. Leading all the financial and strategy stuff and they're more operational, and they're also the money people. I didn't have money in this deal. I could have done that. And they could have said, that doesn't really work for us. Could you do it here and here? I go, yeah, but we could have worked it out. Why not? It never even occurred to me.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
all these years later. It's like I could have
been proactive and just figured it out at first. Because that's actually one of the things I appreciate about the company I'm working for is they do really respect people's vacation time.
That's great if you're an employee. But the reason we're talking about summer vacation is for most of us who are business leaders, entrepreneurs, business owners, we don't operate that way. We're 24/7, 365, and it's killing us. And so we want to talk about summer vacation and what that's like for us and how you can have a glorious vacation and come back renewed, rejuvenated, restored, like you've never been before. And so let's just dream a minute, AJ. What would be like a great place or vacation for you?
Yeah. So I like water. I like being by water. So
Okay.
beach or lake is, and then I would like to ideally be able to stay in a foreign country for sure. So kind of like getting to see another part of the world, being able to hop in the water and kind of just like, I just feel like freelancing around another country is kind of what I ideally want to do.
Yeah. For me, I've done backpacking treks with my sons like 2 weeks, and you are totally off the grid at that point. I've done, obviously, like trips to theme parks, San Diego and stuff, but some of our best vacations were just out literally at a motel in the mountains that had a swimming pool. But I've traveled all over the place, all over the world, many countries and things like that. And I've never done this. When I travel like that, I got to, you got all this money invested in the airfare and, you've just got this limited amount of time. So you're trying to see all these things. So I cram all this stuff into it. I'm actually busier on vacation than I am in real life when I'm back doing my entrepreneurial gig.
I'm fine with that on vacation as long as I'm not the one planning it.
Well, see, that's part of the fun for me. It's like all of the planning it out and figuring it out and stuff. It's like I start going on vacation months in advance, planning it all out.
Really? I'm the exact opposite way. I'm like, all right, if you plan it and you just tell me be here at this time and we're going here, I'm perfectly fine with that. And that's vacation to me. I just want to show up.
See, I'm experimenting with some ideas. So I've got friends in Tuscany, and because I've done homestays there, I've been back there multiple times, all that sort of thing. And I'm like, what if I just went there and rented a room or stayed with friends or whatever for a couple of weeks?
And then just figured it out.
I did that.
That's what sounds like a great vacation to me.
See, I did that for the homestay. And just every day was just, a little adventure within the day, nothing super exciting or anything. I mean, would hop on the motorcycle and goes to a nearby town or something like that. But it wasn't this high-paced thing. There was no agenda. I'm also experimenting with the idea, because I don't think I could do this, is what they call a staycation. Because could I just stay home and do nothing? And I don't think I'm...
Yeah, I don't think I could do that either.
I want to. I would love to. Like today I'm just going to grill or, watch the trilogy Lord of the Rings or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Read the book on the porch. I don't think I'm disciplined enough, because then I'm going to see, there's this over here and that needs to be done and this needs to be done. It's like, no.
You're going to clean and you're going to have to straighten up something. And yeah, that would happen to me. I feel like I could do a day though. Just one day ordering, like order takeout, just throw it away. Don't make any messes. And just sit there and watch movies or something like that. Sure, I could do that for a day.
What do you think is a good length for a vacation?
I've always just felt like people take a 1-week vacation.
Right.
I feel like that's kind of the norm. I'm interested in your thoughts on a long or short vacation.
I'm not the norm. in that department, because like when I go to Europe, it's sort of like, heck, we're here, and one time my wife and I arranged it where we got the 2 weeks paid, and then we took 2 weeks unpaid, so we were gone 4 weeks.
Oh, you went a whole month.
You can cover some ground. You can really have some fun. You can do some stuff in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And like on these backpacking treks, you're only halfway through in week one. so, you can't exactly just have a helicopter come take you home. I think, though, and studies are showing this, and they're kind of studying this more, in that literally, and this has been my experience too, after the first week of vacation, I'm ready to really start the vacation. Most recently, like a year and a half ago, I did 2 weeks in Hawaii. And I was invited to stay in this very lovely condo and on the Big Island, and it was right on a golf course. They love to go there for scuba diving, and I don't scuba dive. I learned to snorkel. So I went with them, and they went scuba diving. They were like, well, if you want the car, you could take us and drop us off and all this kind of stuff. What I didn't realize in Paradise was the traffic jams in Paradise. I saw the traffic jams or something, and I just said, you know what? Go have fun. And I just stayed at the condo. I'd sit on the patio, have a leisurely breakfast, sip coffee, dodge golf balls, and read my book, because these were really bad golfers and the golf balls were flying every which way. But and then I'd go just watch the ocean a while. I've never done that, by the way, because I'd never been to Hawaii before, and you got to go do all these things and see the volcanoes and, go to this. Yeah. And I did a few things. What I needed at that time, and I think really, if you're going for 50 weeks a year or 48 or whatever it is, you need to just decompress. And I think the first week is decompression. And then the second week, you can really begin to engage in the vacation. And that's what I did. Literally, the first week I did a little bit of snorkeling, but hardly anything. And then the second week, we did a few things and saw some things. And so I feel like I really saw the Big Island, but I can now, in my memory, even a year and a half later, go back and I'm just on the porch and it's relaxing, or I'm watching a sunset, just on the porch. I've never had that with a vacation before. That was a new thing for me.
I've never thought about it like that, because if you take the same concept that we were talking about with that phone call, where it's like it lingers with you past the phone call.
Right.
I imagine it's the same way with work, where it's like, yeah, I've been putting in 40, 50, 60, how many ever hours you put in a week for the past 30 weeks. That doesn't just, turn off the second Friday at 5 o'clock hits and now I'm on vacation and I'm gone for the next week.
Right.
Like, that's going to linger with you through the weekend. It's going to linger with you on your travel plans. And then, maybe if, maybe it's not exactly 7 days for everybody. Maybe somebody could get to the point of ready to vacation in 4 or 5 days, but you definitely need that point that there needs to be a gap between work and vacation.
And I'll tell you a little secret, and this will save you some money too. And that is drive. You can't obviously drive to Italy, but, and you can't drive to Hawaii. Okay. But if you're within the 48 states of the United States or your country or wherever you are in the world, if you can drive there, even if it's like 10, 12 hours, that's actually decompressing you. I think driving like that is a faster decompression. So we're talking about how do you take a good vacation? Okay, this is where what we're talking about. And you cannot do one work thing or it doesn't count as a vacation day. You have to give yourself some kind of rule that says, if I take one text, one phone call, I peek at an email, I check the business news, whatever your little trick is to find out what's going on, you just call that a work day now. So you just lost a vacation day. You go, but George, it was just 30 seconds. I just glanced at this text. I go like, doesn't matter. That's the rule. I'm going to come get you. I'm going to enforce this. Okay. I'm kidding. But it's,
that's a good rule.
That's what it's taken for me is I go, I want to say I took 10 vacation days. So I'm not taking any text. I'm not taking anything. That will help decompress you faster, and driving Really does.
I'll hit on both points. Driving, I think, is great because it's like, yeah, we're in this car for the next 12 hours, open highway and America from either side of the highway. And then in terms of your point about the rule, I think that's a great rule because as we just talked about, the second you look at that email or you read what's going on in the group chat or you search up the news of your industry or whatever, you had your gap between work and vacation, and then you just looked at work again. So now you have to restart the clock again so you can reset and decompress.
Right. And here's why. So like day one of vacation, you're thinking a lot about, there's a lot of work stuff going on in your head. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Day two, there's still work stuff going on in your head, but it's not as much as day one. And day three is a little bit less. You take a text on day three, you're back to day one. And you got to, so the rule is not to be a rule. It's really to be guardrails to say, look, don't do that because you're resetting. You're going to go back to day two or you're going to go back to day one where you've got all this crap running through your head. What the goal is to by like day 7 of the 2 weeks, you're not thinking about work at all. And you're thinking about, am I going to go snorkel or am I just going to go sit on the lava rocks and watch the waves crash for 3 hours? I actually did that. I thought this is the dumbest thing in the world. I had never seen what I saw and with waves crashing on the lava rocks. It was amazing.
I imagine I could sit there and stare at that for a while too. Maybe not 3 hours, but.
Well, the sound was so relaxing. And it was just like this rhythmic whoosh, whoosh, kind of thing.
So you were just staring at the rocks and then eventually like, oh, it's been 3 hours.
Yeah, no, you didn't know how long it was. And I got up and I walked around and went different places. And I discovered, water spouts shooting through the holes and all this kind of cool stuff. I didn't have any agenda. It was like, oh, I guess I'm hungry. Maybe I'll head back and go get something for lunch. That was my biggest concern.
Yeah. So by
the way, it took me a week to get into that state.
Which makes sense. And my idea of vacation, though, I'm interested to hear your take as I was describing in the beginning. I want to learn about a new country. So the chances I do get to go see other parts of the world, I'd like to learn a lot about what they're doing. Would you count that as work or would you still count that as vacation? Because to me, that like an immersive learning experience it feels like vacation to me.
And look, at different ages, we have different energy levels. And I say go young. And that's why it would take 4 weeks. I mean, I traveled for 3 months, it was in between jobs and stuff like that. But the thing is that you get into rhythms the longer the trip. And if it's truly like learning, you're in a different state. But the same go I bring to like work and making the entrepreneurial thing work or the business work and all that, I bring to my travel. And that's the part I don't have to cram 14 things into 8 hours. Yeah.
That I wouldn't want to do it like that. I would be more of like, oh, hey, this company does running tours to for Mexico, like the Mayan ruins or whatever. Oh, I'll probably go hop on that tour one day. But not think of it like it has to be Wednesday. I'm going to get on the 2:00 bus.
Yeah. The thing with all of that is if instead of, I'm going to do 2 days in Paris, give yourself 2 weeks.
Yeah. Give yourself the time to
just expand the time and don't try to see 14 countries in 10 days. Okay. On your left is Belgium. It's saturating into the culture and that's transporting you out of your world, your regular day-to-day world.
Transport is a great word for it because that's exactly the way I think about it, where it's like, I'm going on a vacation, I'm leaving America, I'm getting transported into a new place, and I'm just getting immersed in that. And kind of you just learn little things every day by, whether going to a restaurant or just living amongst, people of a completely different country. Because to me, if it's just like, I'm just going to go there and I'm doing nothing is the plan, that sounds painfully boring to me.
Yeah, there's a lovely tension between too much activity and not enough. You really just have to dial into yourself. So, and I've done both. One of the things, and I'm remembering some things. You don't just have to go to Italy or Australia or Hawaii or something to be immersed in a different culture. And I learned this through this international experience, and they trained us in Vermont. And I'll never forget this. We were sent for a day into a local village in Vermont. We went to Jamaica, Vermont. And what we were supposed to do was explore the culture of Jamaica, Vermont. It was the most amazing day. I was like amazed. We found out all about why it's called Jamaica. We met locals, at the restaurant, the bar, the local place, that sort of thing. That kind of thing where you pace it differently. There's also be aware of where you're at. You may just need to read a book or watch a movie or just stare at the sky. Lay in a hammock, so it's not prescriptive, in other words, but you want to watch out for driving too hard and go. You've got to do the opposite of what you do in normal life. And you've got to be aware physically, you're going to feel it in your body. You're going to feel it in your spirit, in your emotions. You're going to feel, I just need to pause.
I just want to play on that balance you talked about. That is a difficult balance to find. And as we've talked about, it's clearly going to be different between the two of us. And so it's going to be different for everybody. And it's like figuring out, what do I need in this moment? And I guess that answers your question about what's the point of vacation. It's like, I've been working. What do I want to do? And if I gave myself an extended period of time to not work, what do I want to do? And what do I need to do to continue about my day-to-day life and feel rejuvenated almost?
I think the key is, if you just remember this, use vacation to restore yourself, to get all that sleep you didn't get. That's okay. But we're paying this amount per day and all this kind of stuff. And, you're on the big island. I go, yeah, I'm sleeping in. It's really easier for me to do that there than if I'm in New Zealand, where I had never been before, on that trip. But you need 2 weeks. Even if you're going the whole time, 2 weeks, you will detach. And once you learn how to do that, you will get better and better and better at it. It'll become a learned thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be able to do it quicker. You'll be able to, you'll know how to decompress quicker and really get away from work and get into your vacation mode.
Well, so for example, you can put yourself in situations where you're forced to restore. Like, for example, backpacking is very strenuous. Okay. So we do 100+ mile treks. You're carrying 50, 60 pounds on your back every day, and you're going from point A to point B, I don't know, 10 miles or something like that every day. And you got to make a certain amount of mileage so you get out of the place by the time your ride's there to pick you up, I mean, so there's a little bit of that pressure. But essentially, in the backpacking day, you backpack, you set up your tent, and you eat. And your whole day is consumed with that and nothing else. You don't have time for anything else. Everything takes longer in a backpacking trek. That's restorative. That's what I'm getting to. That's restorative for me, because I'm now focused on, we got to clean up dinner and and get to bed because we want to get out early because we've got this stuff ahead of us tomorrow, that sort of thing. But your whole life is now work. I'm just trying to get out of here without a bear eating me. That's restorative. And so you've got to find what works for you, but that's the key. When you get back from vacation, you want to be rejuvenated. If you've really gotten restored and your tongue's not hanging out and you're exhausted and you're like, wow, I'm so glad to be back to work. We did Europe and, 10 days and I saw 14 countries. No, you know what? We drove out to the Texas mountains and we hung out for 2 weeks and kind of swam in the motel pool and watched movies and played games, board games and stuff. And I am so rejuvenated. I'm coming back and I am loaded with creative ideas. I'm fresh thinking. I am ready to go.
I like how you put that. It's think of vacation about what its effects are going to be on your life afterwards.
Right.
Where it's like, I took time off and I was just so busy and I was going the whole time. And now I'm back here and I got to get going again. And I don't know when my next vacation is. Whereas when you just got off of a nice 2-week one, you're like, oh, that was great. I'm ready to get back into work.
So hopefully what we're doing for you guys is, as we're talking about vacation, and we're talking about it in May because you still got time to make changes or plans or whatever, right? A lot of people take vacation over the summer. So this is the time to be thinking about how you want to structure things so you come out a certain way. And hopefully through our conversations, lots of ideas are popping. Write those down, share them with us. We'd love to hear your vacation stories, your vacation ideas, and tips and tricks. So guys, this podcast has been completely different than what we've done before, but it's so important for your well-being to be strong, build resilience. I think to build on this, check out this video right here. I know you're going to love it. And until next time, may you live truly free.